Hey, this is Dale Tinsley. You're listening to the Connect Podcast. Our purpose is to guide you to connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and live a life of meaning and value. Continuing the series, Limitless Potential, Endless Refinement. All right, welcome back to part 2. Hope the first part of the presentation inspired you, opened your mind, opened your heart, gave you some perspective on yourself, digging back in time into the reality that we all experienced as kids. And in the closing of part 1, finishing off with really separating ourselves and looking at the board, if you remember, where it said, you as a child, and then looking at all of that from the eyes of our own kids. So I hope that was impactful. And I hope the exercise is bringing meaning and value to each and every one of you and to the audience at home watching. All right, so now we're going to shift. We looked at the childhood. Now we're shifting into our current day reality of what we all experience. Connect, mind, body, spirit. The first thing I just wrote up here is in a relaxed body. And that I learned from one of my mentors, Jeffrey Combs. We do our best work when we're in a relaxed body because we're at peace and we can think clearly. We don't have these pressures, anxiety, pressure, fear driving at us. And I also left up here alone time. But I swapped out himself for alone time for ourselves, which is key and critical for self-reflection, perspective, internally and externally on our own reality. And ultimately, the relationship that we have with ourselves. Okay, so that's what we're going to dig into right now, is real time, in the moment, what our experience has been as adults. And I think now we have some perspective on where some of our unresolved issues come from. You know, the word hang up jumped in my head, and I didn't want to use that word. It does serve the purpose. It's a hang up. But really what it is, those hang ups stay in our mind, stay in our emotion. Unhealed moments. That programming that we got when we were kids, if we didn't gain understanding from it, it stays here. Unhealed moments. And what does that do to our bodies?
Anxiety.
Yes, 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 yes. It's,
abuse.
say again?
Abuse.
The abuse can be mentally also.
Yeah.
That's,
It's stored in the body.
oof. Yeah, for me personally, I think the mental abuse Now, I've never been abused physically. Well, I had one relationship where it escalated to physical abuse. But I think that the physical abuse, you can heal from it. But I think the mental abuse stays with you more emotionally. And look, that's just my perspective of my experience in this adventure we call life. It doesn't mean it's right. It's just my perspective, and I'm just sharing. It's what we do here at Connect. We share.
I really meant like abuse of your own body, like whether it be substance abuse,
Oh.
food abuse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's now let's dig into that. So that yeah, no, now the wheels are turning. Now the wheels are turning.
Numbing.
Yeah, give me a second. So the future's over here. Today, right now, where we are, your eyes are here. We're in this moment. This is all that's real. The past has happened. You can't drive down the street and go to the past. You can't drive down the street and go get your certificate again. They're going to look at you like you're nuts. All we have is the present. This is our reality. The power of now, living in the now. Eckhart Tolle breaks it down beautifully. What do we have over here? We have the past. In the abuse of using drugs, sex, gambling, TV. Oh, shit. Ew. Okay. Yeah.
Just coping is the right word.
Oh,
You
it's
know, how you cope.
the dots are going to really start to connect. I got full body chills. I mean, it's beautiful when the vision comes together. Right? Okay, so let's go into what Jacob said. The abuse, whether you're using drugs, sex, gambling, TV, food, keeps us distracted. Okay? It keeps us distracted. And what's at the core
Survival.
of all that?
The unhealed moments.
The unhealed moments that create the anxiety, that keep us tense, that keep us in heartache.
Avoidance.
Toxifies our bodies, toxifies our mindset, where ultimately you get to a point of despair and of hopelessness. The furthest thing from showing up in a relaxed body to be the best version of ourselves. When we have these unhealed moments and we have that anxiety, the unhealed moments, oh, I don't want to go to that party, I'm going to see so-and-so. Anxiety kicks in, I get tense, I'm in the heartache. Is there an E right here?
Yes.
Thank you. Why nobody said nothing?
I just spot it right here, so.
It's all connected. The good, the bad, the ugly, the energy, the frequency, the vibration. Everything that we experience is connected. And when you're living in an unhealed state, you see the world through your lens. Happy people are happy. If you faking the funk, you faking the funk, and you're not living in your authenticity. That's all. We'll get into that. The programming that we all received, that the last whiteboard, we laid it all out. There has to be a moment within each of us that we realize, I am now responsible for my life. All of it. All of it. What happened in the past, the programming that I received, the people that loved me on the level of awareness that they had, the level of consciousness that they had, the level of connection that the people that raised me had, they did the best they could with what they had. And coming to a place of acceptance with that takes us to go into these unhealed moments. I wasn't supported the way I should have been. I didn't get all the nurturing that I should have or could have gotten because mom was disconnected, dad was a workaholic. All of these different factors. All of these factors keep you from this being in a relaxed body. The heartache, you're tense, you're anxious because you're being triggered by traumas that are unhealed moments. There was abuse, there was neglect. And then your ego is the voice in your head, is the little brother, right? Like Dr. Christina talks about from the book, which I have a copy. I'm dropping the name of the book.
Untethered Soul.
Thank you. The Untethered, Michael Stringer, I think is his name. I have a copy right there that I'm going to give to someone. The little brother, the ego, that will never shut up until we silence our mind, connect to our spirits, and live in the Spirit. Which ultimately is a choice, but the road to get there requires the surrender to God. Now going back to this, the ego, the unhealed moments, the abuse, this is in the mind. The body reacts with the heartache, you become tense, the anxiety. I'm anxious, what do I do? Well, you got two choices. You can use the triggers and the trauma, which are the treasure. Your triggers and your trauma is the treasure to get you here. Because when we react the way we do and we become aware of these things, we can work through we can work through each moment, each unhealed moment, or we can make the choice to go here with the drugs, the oversexing, the gambling, the TV, the food, which is the distraction, which keeps us from connecting and keeps us in that circle, keeps us in that pattern. You know, and people will look at people that are in these patterns. I've been in the patterns. Some of you have witnessed some of that. They see the pattern, but they don't dig deeper into the understanding of the why, the why, the why, the why, the why, the why, the why. And at the end of the day, all of us as human beings, doesn't matter if you're Iraqi, Chinese, North Korean, New Orleanian, from California, New York, we all want this. We all want and need, as humanity, to connect. We all want love. We all want to be valued. We all want respect. We all want to be nurtured. We all want to nurture. We all want to facilitate this beautiful experience called life. So how do we get there? By laying it all out, the relationship with ourselves, and having the rigorous honesty to look at ourselves, lay it out on a whiteboard and go, okay, this one's me, this one's me, I'm not here. Where am I living? Am I living here? Oh, I'm there 30% of the time. When I'm with my friends, I'm here. The rest of the time, I'm back here.
Depression.
Where all of these things came from.
Passive depression.
Yeah, but we can work through that.
Future's anxiety.
Is it starting to become clear? Yes. Awesome. So, I mean, we got more to add to this. This is, and this is...
It's just an observation.
Yeah!
When you're looking at the past
Mm-hmm.
and when you're looking at the future,
Mm-hmm.
both sides of that are not true when you're in the present. So right now, if I start thinking about the past traumas
Mm-hmm.
and allowing that to affect my time, my focus,
Mhm.
my energy,
Mhm.
I'm gonna get depressed, or I'm gonna just feel in despair.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I start thinking about the future at that point, I'm gonna feel not good enough. I'm gonna feel shame, guilt, like I don't deserve, or something bad is coming my way. None of that is true. The only thing that's true is what I'm experiencing right now in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing that I'm able to influence or affect.
Now I agree with that 100%, but I'm gonna challenge you on this. Go back to the past and start what you were saying. You said, if you start thinking about the past and those traumas come up, you can't do anything about it, right? I mean, look, what's done is done.
Right.
You, my friend, made a choice to have the courage. Somewhere in your head, it clicked and it felt natural, and you were ready to dig into this and the hard work that it takes of sitting with ourselves, processing it, dealing with it, going through the roller coaster, reliving some of it. That's a choice. For someone recently that was sick and tired of being sick and tired, years in the making. None of this happens overnight. The breakthrough will happen overnight. Boom, where you have the shift. What's the lead up to that people don't see? The lead up to that is the internal work that we do, where we start to own it. We start to gain a little momentum internally and feel a sense, I got to do something. Years in the making. And then that person says, I'm ready to start working out. I'm ready to make a change. And I tell that person, if you walk for 4 weeks, 6 days a week, you do that, and I'll train you 6 days a week. You know where that is right now? Way back there. Now we're 5 weeks in. You ever seen that movie, The Butterfly Effect? I have some thoughts on changing the past through deep, deep, deep reflection and gathering information and coming to understandings. And at the end of the day, when we do all of that work, it's for ourselves. Because the other person is not having the experience. The other person was part of something, it ended up this way, and it impacted us on such a deep level that it scarred us. That when we think about it, we get triggered. We classify it in our head as a trauma. When we think about it, it makes us tense. We get anxiety. So going back and changing the past. What if any moment you went back and you were given a piece of new information that gave you a different perspective? What if, let's just say, someone wronged you, or in a critical moment in your life, a friend you leaned on and they didn't show you the support, or they got snappy with you and you were like at your wit's end and then like you broke. What if you found out that person that snapped at you, their favorite grandmother that they were super close with died, and that 3 days before that their girlfriend had cheated on them? You know, so getting that new information and taking that into account on that person's reaction to when you came to them and you were at a low and you needed some support, and that's your one of your people, and they reacted the way they did, but you didn't know the girlfriend cheated on them. You didn't know the grandma passed away, because that person didn't communicate those things to you. And all of that, I say all of that to get to the point that when we fully understand things, we can let them go and it makes more sense. And we don't need to carry around the past. We have the power
Then you're at peace.
to heal. When we heal, we're in the moment. When we're in the moment, we're in a relaxed body. When we're in a relaxed body, we're connected. Mind, body, spirit. We're in the present. We don't have anxiety about the future.
That's why you can't take things personally.
You don't know what anybody, I mean, that's
No idea what's really going on.
That's one of the Connect staples. No one is above us, no one is below us. And don't take things personal, because everybody has their whole internal reality that started with the programming that we each received as kids. And what was normal for me, now Heidi has gotten a taste of it as an adult, and she's like, I don't know how you ended up the way you did. I don't know how you are where you are today with being exposed to that.
Well, it's
But-
internal work.
But being exposed to the chaos that I was exposed to, I had choices. I could either remain unhealed, living in anxiety, and you guys have seen me cope with some of those things until you come out and you deal with them and process them. And when you start digging into this, it's hard work. It takes time. But it's a process. And as we feed the healing, we become more present. And we start experiencing what it's like to be in a relaxed body. Everything starts shifting. When we make the choice, to do something about the past. The past what? Past moments, abuse, trauma. We shift in our perspective, in our minds, right here. Because God, the Spirit, God's always speaking to us. God's giving us clues all the time, trying to reach us in any other way, in the newspaper, online, through a buddy, through a random moment, through TV, through animals, through your dreams. But God gives us free will. So we have to make that choice. And as we start digging in to our awareness, this is our superpower, our awareness. Right now, your awareness is right here, in the present, in this moment. As we start tuning into our awareness, we can focus. As we start focusing, we start to what? Experience details. Unhealthy and healthy. As we start to see these details, then we have another choice. We have to be honest. And in laying out everything that we are real-time experiencing, show yourself some grace. It's just a blueprint. For everybody, it's going to have different nuances. It's going to be nuanced for everybody, just like the one for us as kids was nuanced. Show yourself some grace and understand it takes time to build muscle. It takes time to deal with the unhealed traumas and the abuses. It does not happen overnight. But if we don't start, if we don't make that choice, we don't build momentum. We stay over here in the distraction. We stay in the repetitive loop of the triggers and the trauma. And what the ego wants to do is keep us right there. The ego wants to keep us right there because the programming from the world, the programming from TV is all designed to keep us here, not thinking critically, not being emotionally available, in tune, connected, mind, body, and spirit.
I want to share something that you brought to my attention. So I lacked a lot of self-awareness a few years ago when we started all these concepts. And as I became more self-aware, I think that forgiveness is a huge piece of it.
Oh,
So
sure.
As I started to forgive myself and forgive others, I think that helped me to heal. And then once I forgave, I got even more awareness. And then forgiveness came very naturally. Because I would see somebody in the store that was acting kind of a way, and instead of me judging them like I usually would do in the past and be like, what's this got going on? Dang, dude. I was like, oh gosh, she's a mom, she's struggling, everything's falling out the basket, the kids are running all over. Like, I was like, okay, I see where she is and I can understand it. I put myself in her shoes. And like, I've had women look up at me and I'm like, sis, I'm not judging you. I'm not gonna mom shame you. Like, you want me to come help you? Some lady in Sam's earring was stuck on her baby and she couldn't get it off and she was tangled up. And I was like, hold on, I'm coming. Let me figure you out. But like, just, it makes you look at people in a different perspective. And so my forgiveness is very natural, and I would say that I attribute that to you. I think that you taught me that.
I just exposed you to it. You made the choice to do the internal work, to put your awareness on it, put your focus on it. Then you start to see the details, and you start to build some momentum. And I think there's an episode, Judgment and Regret. And who are we to judge? But those are all tools of the ego. The judgment, the regret. When we're in those moments, are we connecting with people? Are we connecting with ourselves? No, we feel that. And that's what the awareness is about seeing when it's your ego and when it's your spirit. The ego is the judgment, the hate, the comparison game. The spirit is honesty, love, peace, connection. And momentum, over here by the body, we've got these challenging things that are ultimately treasure, because the triggers, when we act on them, we move out of the unhealed state. The treasure that reveals what needs to be handled. And then once you start digging into that and handling those things, and you feel the weight lifted, you're clearer, your awareness elevates, you're happier, you feel more energized, you feel more connected to yourself.
Creative.
You feel more creative, of course, because those blockages, those unhealed moments get released little by little, and we are no longer a prisoner, to the past. We are no longer a prisoner to the past, that the ego will keep us in that loop. And while we're in that ego, as you're in those moments, what's your spirit doing? Oh, don't. You don't have to react that way. No. And the little brother, shut up. There's that internal conflict. I'm working with Haven right now, explaining to her the good wolf and the bad wolf. And you're going to have them, they're both going to be there, baby, the whole time. The bad wolf has his purpose, but the good wolf needs to lead. And that is within all of us. And some people have this experience of life and they never understand the difference. They live in that repetitive loop, and then they program their kids the same way. And it just continues and continues and continues until someone comes into the family and is there to break those patterns, and that's what she's been tasked to do. So it's, this to me is amazing. We need a way bigger board to leave this and and really, really dig into it. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. But let's focus on the body. So how do we build some momentum? How do we build momentum? We have to feed our body. What do we feed our body? I did an episode called Quality versus Quantity. Quality. Like Miss Judy said, high expectations. Okay, that feeds into quality. if we're connected mind, body, and spirit, we're in the process of refining ourselves, healing ourselves so we can be fully present. Our awareness elevates. Now we start looking at things. We start looking for quality. Quality people, quality food, quality moments, quality experiences. As our awareness elevates. I wasn't aware of that. You, no? Well, let me, so here's a moment, right? So then the ego, if you're living in the ego, oh, well, you didn't know that? And they give you this look. Someone living over here, oh yeah, let me show you. Let me show you. In a relaxed body, leading with what? Love, connection, momentum. The relationship that we have with ourselves is the most important relationship we have. And then, when we make the decision to surrender to God, then it changes. I believe at that point, the most important relationship we have, once you're in the process of connecting with yourself, is maintaining and feeding and nurturing that deep, honest, open relationship of surrender and trust with God. You lead with trust. You trust God that He's got it. Jesus, take the wheel. I'm going to do my best. Take the wheel.
Yeah.
Control, 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 control. Control. Ego, 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 ego. See, if I can control everything, then I won't have anxiety over the future. But you're caught up in the loop. The anxiety is from the ego. The control is from the ego. So how you going to control everything? When you live in that when you live operating from your ego, control is an illusion. And then, you can see people that operate in that because they don't have this. Boy, they lose it.
You need a P in there. Adaptability.
ADA,
BPT.
ADA, adapt, ADA, PT.
PT.
Sorry. Adaptability. This word means, this scribble means adaptability.
Can I be honest?
You're smart.
I need you to be honest and authentic.
That is the hardest part. Is the trusting. It's the
Oh yeah.
When you've been, so I'm just now reaching a milestone in my personal journey, to healing and surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
That surrender has to happen on a continual basis, because I come across old patterns that I haven't been able to reprogram my mind yet.
Where are those old patterns from?
Yeah.
Where are they going to keep you, my friend?
Right.
I love you, brother. That's it right there,
Yeah,
man.
and so as I'm experiencing life, things get triggered unaware. I'm healed from the root, right?
Mm-hmm.
The patterns that were built up over the years,
Mhm.
how to manage when I get triggered,
Mhm.
that's still there, right? So the healing doesn't make that go away. My initial response to these things is to handle them how I've always handled them, but I'm healed now, so I'm seeing from a different perspective. And so at those moments, the hardest thing for me to do is to trust God, trust that spirit, that things are going to be okay, and to put myself in that higher functioning mindset and see it from that perspective, from the healed perspective. you know, and get into that relaxed body. I tend to still want to tense up because, you know, situations come that trigger you, makes you uncomfortable. But I'm healed now, and I know that, right? But I'm still left with making a choice. Do I control this, or do I trust God for the outcome and tackle it from a different angle?
Tactics.
That's a real time.
Real time. Oh yeah, no, I get it. But
choice
that's
you have to make.
100%. And it's
I've failed many times, but I'm gaining momentum.
you're gonna
That's where I'm
backslide.
at.
So it's 100% part of the process. You backslide a little, you catch yourself, you make the choice, you become aware of it, and now you have the wherewithal and the awareness and a whole bunch of
And
this.
one of the biggest things was I am having to extend so much grace to myself now, and that is an area that I am not used to, because in the past, if I would make a mistake, the control part of me was like, you should have had control over this. So now I'm just
It's
having,
an illusion.
you know, once I fail, I'm looking at it from a healed perspective, like, okay, it's okay. This is new to you. Just get back up and do it again in a different way. And so that's where I'm gaining my momentum now.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
Because the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing and, oh, it's going to be different this time.
Or expecting life to throw you different situations.
The patterns, it's pattern. A lot of the work that I do in that, I mean, it's pattern recognition. But we have to have the rigorous honesty to look within ourselves and see our own patterns.
Sounds like you're reprogramming yourself because you're able to recognize it.
It's right here.
You know, it is
100%.
That's awesome.
You know what I do every morning? I ask God to help aid my responses with grace and mercy. He will bathe my responses because I respond, and it's not always cute, pretty, nice. I mean, even with my kids, you know, I've asked them, God, bathe my responses, even when I walk in the room and everything is everywhere, and they done got into some stuff. I'm like, hey guys.
Think about the quality.
So bathe my responses in grace and mercy, Lord, please. I ask for that every single day with my coworkers, my children, my husband, everybody that I come in contact with.
So another thing is that internal voice, the ego, was always this negative self-talk.
That's all it is. It's
Right.
never anything positive.
So it's also speaking to myself, to my spirit.
With love.
It's a personal journey that I'm on too, with love and compassion and grace and having mercy on me. I'm allowed to make a mistake, you know, and it's been, I mean, a game changer in my life.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that brings up the inner voice. The story we tell ourselves, our inner voice, is it healthy or unhealthy? Is it positive or is it negative? And we got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and have the honesty to look ourselves in the mirror and start looking at the details and really focus on it.
And have courage.
Oh, and show some courage.
Up there at all.
Not yet. Courage and the willingness. As we shift through it. As we continue to connect with ourselves. As we start to realize that we are all limitless potential. If we step out of this, the past, and into the healed moments, and do that internal work to reprogram our inner voice, then we're into the endless refinement. of our limitless potential.
Decreases anxiety in the future.
Because we stay right here in the present.
And when we get more into Connect Kids, I think it's gonna be a really neat journey, because I've even noticed, because I've done some of the work to myself, that like I wake up every day and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be mean mom today. You know, because we can all go into mean mom mode quickly, because they're little, they're frustrated, they're trying to push the limits, they're trying to figure things out for themselves, they're discovering. And that's how I look at it now. I'm like, she didn't just make a mess, she's just discovering. I need to be okay with this. This is my baby that I love, and I don't need to be a mean mom. I don't need to get mad at her, you know? So it's a different experience when you've done the work and then you apply it to your kids. Oh, it's so beautiful.
So look, I challenge you, everybody here, everybody watching, take the perspective of your child. See, put yourself into the child's head, into the child's reality. And that brings us back to the first part of this presentation. All of those things laid out. Are we giving our kids what they need? Are we present for our kids? It's hard to be present for our kids if we're not present for ourselves. You can't give what you don't have. You can fake the funk. You'll get tastes of it. And that's good. That's effort. You're trying. But to truly be present and to be grounded and to be centered and to be healed, we got to dig into those unhealed moments, the abuse, the different traumas, the triggers, and do something about it. Sit with it, process it. You got to deal to heal, and the only way out is through. There are no shortcuts. There are no Band-Aids. The gambling, the drugs, the sex, the TV, the food, the distractions, those are all Band-Aids. And you will continue to stay in the heartache. You'll be tense. You'll have anxiety. So I hope this breakdown of the relationship with ourselves, I hope it's an eye-opening experience for the audience at home. I hope it's an eye-opening experience for you guys that came through today. I really want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be present, to connect, to share some time with us and the Connect family. And I hope it inspires you. I hope it inspires you to continue to refine and just have the honesty that you need to have with yourselves when you look in the mirror. And show yourself some grace. None of this happens overnight. But this exercise is a great tool to just lay it out and just let it all out. It'll be therapeutic for you. I know that to be true. I want to thank you for your time today. You can go to theconnection.studio and pick up the journal. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel or some of the other platforms, I'd appreciate the support. Until next time, God bless. Thanks for joining us at the Connection Studio. You can support us by sharing with others and posting to social media. Keep doing the internal work, as it will truly make all the difference. God bless.